Hi everyone, welcome to the 000, the War Inside and Out podcast. This is where police, fireys, ambulance officers, doctors and nurses have the opportunity to share their experiences of what it's like on the front line. If you are battling post-traumatic stress disorder, please watch or listen to this on Spotify and YouTube with a support person. If you are in immediate danger, please contact Lifeline 13 11 14. I hope you get some value and some educational strategies on how to deal with PTSD, and I hope you get a greater understanding of what emergency services go through on a day-to-day basis. If you'd like to reach out to me to share your experience, my email is craiggibson75@outlook.com and my Instagram handle is craig_gibson75. Thanks very much for listening and watching. As I said, it's available on YouTube and Spotify, and please reach out to us if you need any help whatsoever. Thanks very much, guys.
All right, welcome everyone to the 000, the War Inside and Out podcast. This is where people who work on the front line get to share their experiences in their day-to-day operations. With me today, I have Dave Cafferatta. Hello, champion.
Hello.
Did I pronounce that okay?
You did perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome, mate.
Thank you.
So this is episode 12. We've been messaging for a little while now. So I've really got to know your story a little bit, and I was really keen to get you on and have a chat about your life, your service in the New South Wales Police, and I think you have an incredible story. So really excited about this. So,
Sure.
Mate, can you tell me, when you joined the police and why?
Yeah, I joined 2004. I graduated
Yep.
in 2004. And the reason I joined, long story short, was, I have no relatives in Australia except for my parents, my two brothers, and I had an uncle. They all migrated from Argentina. And when I was 13, very close to my uncle. He was like the best uncle you can ever have,
Yeah.
And it was on my mother's birthday, August 26th. I finished school, 13 years old, looking forward to my uncle coming home. And on the news, breaking news, there was a shooting in Burwood, like a massacre in Burwood. Not the Strathfield one, but in Burwood. That's where my uncle lived. And my father, he rushed to Burwood, and he ended up being my uncle that got murdered. And it was his next door neighbor. He thought people were poisoning his toilet or something like that, and he had schizophrenia, and he shot my uncle, and then he shot someone else. And he went to the Burwood CBD and shot a cafe owner, and the police had a shootout with him and wounded him and arrested him, and our lives turned around completely. And when I found out, it was like the day before I was playing with JoJo's, for example, and then that happened. My life just turned around, and what the police did and the bravery they showed, and from that day, to honour my uncle, I said, I'm going to join the police. Look, it's amazing what they did, and
Wow.
the courageous they did, and that's the reason why I wanted to join since that age, and I wanted to do everything I can too, and that's the reason why, to honour my uncle. So
Wow. How does the family deal with that now?
with
What happened to your uncle?
it's still at the time he hit my father. He was his best friend and his brother. He hit him really difficult. It was that bad that he ended up losing his job, and he went. I was pretending to go to sleep at night, and I can hear things and reading newspaper clippings, news articles, and he checked on us, and I was pretending to sleep, but I can hear the conversations, and we ended up going in House Commission. So we grew up in House Commission, and that was just a life experience in itself as well. We had bad ones and, fighting in a young age on the street. But all these experiences, I said, this is going to be good. And I always wanted to still join the police. And I said, this is good growing up, seeing this kind of environment. And he helped to join the cops. And it was difficult, but then my father realised what it was. And then he ended up being in the front page newspaper again. The murderer was in court. My father went to court. I was at school. And basically he jumped past the sheriffs and hitting the murderer in court, and he broke someone's finger or something. He was just in a rage. And
wow.
I remember the principal taking me out of school because he was in the news and everything, and my father got arrested for that. And
wow.
But obviously nothing much happened to him because seeing the circumstances, anyone would do similar things like that. So it was a roller coaster, but I think he realized, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the main thing was. Yeah. So
it would have been extremely difficult for the family.
Extremely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was.
How old were you when you joined the police?
I joined 24.
Yeah, right.
I wanted to have some experience first, so I tried to do, since finished school, I did security work, but everywhere. So I wanted not just do one security work in one place. I wanted to do bouncing work and to experience,
Yeah.
So I did that for many years and enjoyed the process and doing sort of security work.
Got some hands-on experience.
Definitely hands-on experience. And, I did a lot of martial arts, Hapkido, with my father, boxing and just wrestling. And I just wanted to, because I knew you need the experience, I believe, when you join the police. And this was a good eye-opener sort of thing.
Yeah.
As much as I can do. So
yeah, 100%. You definitely. I'm a big believer, and you need that experience. 18, 19, 20, you're not ready. In my opinion.
Yeah.
But around that, 24, 25 and above, you've had a little bit of life. You've got some hands-on experience from life. You might have been punched in the face by life a couple of times by then.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're able to then hit the ground running once you join, and you've been exposed to a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah. What was your time at the academy like?
The academy, well, it'll be different now. There's curfews now.
Yep.
I've heard. I joined when it wasn't curfew. No business attire, for example.
Yep.
So it was a good experience. It was different.
Yep.
It was. We had some lecturers that screamed still and carried on, and it was. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I met some good people, good friends, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I wish it's like school. So, for example, you wish you took advantage of that time more.
Yes,
taking more photos or enjoying the experience more, because time goes really fast when you were there.
So, what was your first posting?
First posting was Newtown, but
did you choose that?
No, I didn't.
So, what do you remember? What your choices were?
The choices was I think I wanted to choose Bankstown, Parramatta, City, and one of the country ones. Yeah, right. But I didn't choose Newtown, and I found someone that wanted Newtown, and he had Parramatta. He didn't want Parramatta, I didn't want Newtown, so we swapped. Really? Yeah, so we swapped the posting. So my first posting officially was Parramatta instead of Newtown, and it was only like the last minute sort of thing, and they let us do that, so it was good. Yeah. And Parramatta was... What was your first impression, your first week? What was your first impression of the role, the policing, that rush of graduating and then bang, I'm now a probationary police officer? Yeah. What was your first week like? I remember my father gave me he was a police officer in Argentina and in the Army and the Air Force. And I remember the first tip he gave me is, if you want a good tip, is do not let the police change who you are. Do not, advice. From the academy do not let it change who you are. For example, if you have common sense in the situation, deal with that. And I remember that stuck by me. And the first week, actually, it was 3 up in the car, 1 senior officer, senior constable, me and another one that graduated in the same time. And one of the jobs was a hold-up alarm in service station near McDonald's. It was on a Saturday around lunchtime. And lights and sirens were going there. And when we got there, I was looking around. I go, okay. When we got to the service station, no one's panicking. No one's, first thing I seen. And this senior officer and the probation, they sprinted into the service station. Well, I didn't. I casually walked. Ended up being a false alarm. Got back in the car, long story short, and she blasted me, the senior officer. And she goes, how come you didn't run, sprinted, inside the service station? And I knew it was my first week, and she's been in the job for over 5 years. And
Yeah.
and I was trying to say it in the nicest way. I said, look, with all due respect, I know you're senior to me and I just started, but common sense tells me if I was one robbing with a gun or a shotgun, the service station, obviously he's desperate, he's nervous. You run in there, you turn around, something can happen. Yeah. And I tried to explain that to her, and I said, if you casually walk in there, look in, oh, shit, it's legit, get back, call for backup, do what you have to do. It's about being smart and not panicking, rushing in there. She hated that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She made a complaint, and then I got dragged into the supervisor's office. But lucky for me, it was a supervisor that understood what I was coming from and was on my side. So the first week was like, you have to, don't be intimidated. Always use that common sense. Of course, respect senior officers. You just started, and that, I guess that's what life experience. Like I said, like what you were saying, if you join when you're 18, 19, you don't have that life experience, and that was a great example of having that, common sense approach. And
did she ever give you a reason why she ran in?
Her mindset was, oh, it's a hold-up alarm button. You have to, rush going in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, yeah. And that was, and then obviously she was senior to me, and she didn't want to hear that. She didn't want to go, you're junior to me. And the way I see it, even coming from all these years, I learn a lot from junior officers. They give me things, and I go, oh, yeah, good call,
Just
good.
a fresh insight. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Because in the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your experience is when you're on the street. Rank doesn't mean anything. The criminals or the badness doesn't say, oh, you got stars on your shoulder, I won't hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what was your probationary period like as a whole?
I was lucky that I had good FTOs, which field training officers.
Yep.
I was blessed that I had really good ones, and they're still friends to the day. Dory and Liz Harris,
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. Good blokes. And like I said, I was lucky that I had. But yeah, that was a good side of it, and I saw some things that.
Yeah. So I'll get to that now. Do you remember an incident or an event or a job that you went to that first shocked you, or you thought this is surreal, or I know now what policing is, this is real? Do you remember an event like that?
Yeah. There was the proactive team, the plainclothes car was trying to pull over another vehicle, and they didn't stop. So they caught it over the radio. This car's, on pursuit and whatnot.
We're in pursuit, yeah.
And this car, and we weren't too far off the place. And basically this car head on to another innocent vehicle right in front of the service station as well. Smashed into them. And when we got there, the car was on flames. And I was running towards the car, and you can hear him screaming. And we were maybe 10 meters away. The car exploded, so he died. He burned to death, basically.
Wow.
In the car and exploded. Like, I was just started as well, and that shocked me, like how things can quickly change, and seeing something like that. And
Was he the only occupant of that car?
he was the only occupant of the car, and I think he,
Do you remember how that made you feel?
even though he did the badness, like even though he was in the wrong, at the time it made me feel that he was still human. He was still a man. He still has family. He's, I don't know his story, and the way he died. That's how it made me feel straight away. Like that emotion that I had in the beginning. So that's how it made me feel, for sure.
Did you ever share your emotions about that with anyone?
No. See, when I joined, I thought nothing can, I was tough on, like, mentally and physically. I'm a tough bloke. Nothing's going to actually affect me. And at the time, I'm all good. It's not like no one really asked, but I didn't share that emotion with anyone.
Yeah. Do you still think about that event to this day?
I do. Yeah. I drove past that service station a few times, and that always brings me back to see to the other vehicle as well. There was two elderly people in the car.
Were they okay?
To see if they had pelvis broken and leg, and they were injured pretty bad. And I was just driving normally, and then something like that happens. So I think about them.
It's something that I think a lot of people don't realise. Emergency services will go to an event like that, and decades later it's still with you. That you can't unsee that, or you can't unexperience that, and those emotions, they stick with you. And especially if you haven't spoken about it to anyone else, or shared what you actually feel with anyone else, and you've kept that inside, it can just fester in your mind for decades.
100%.
Can you share any other experiences along the way that people might not be aware of, that police go to, or that have really, shocked you?
Yeah. Well, like early on in my career as well, just a young girl, 13 years old, and she committed suicide in her garage. And I remember going to that, and it's just a young girl, like what how hard life could be for her. And I was junior as well, and said, "Wow, this is that feeling I had, the
helplessness,
as well." And I went to a fair few of them, like during the first few years, and so that was just early in my career as well.
Yeah,
and definitely, that sort of like shook me up. And just later on in my career, that the one thing that I can still hear is this lady stepped in front of a car, and she got hit her head so hard that I was the first one there and given her CPR, but it was too late. The worst thing about that was her daughter was getting married in 4 days after that, and I had to speak to the daughter. The way she grabbed me, the way she screamed, like sorrow, like her crying, and all I wanted to do was hug her and cry with her. But I couldn't show that emotion, and it was the hardest thing just to hold that in. And the way she was grabbing me, like on the scruff of and crying on my shoulder and screaming. She kept saying, "I'm getting married, in a couple of days, 4 days." And I had the boss and supervisors messaging me and calling me to hurry up with the paperwork and to find out more of the history, and you can't rush these things.
Yes.
You know? But the supervisors, they, you know, and that was annoying, and that was frustrating. Like, really? Like, the last thing she wants to hear is questions about what medical centre the mum went or what medication, you know, if she had history of, you know, things like this. And that cry, that screaming, I can, definitely.
I don't think people realise the pressure that police are under when you go to deliver a death message, and you're giving family members the worst news that they're potentially ever going to hear, and you have a police officer hat on, and you're maintaining that professionalism, and you want to deliver it in a way that is humane.
Yep.
And then there's this want from you want to be a human being in that moment, and you want to show emotion, and you want to hug them, and it's a really difficult thing to be able to navigate. And how do you act, and then you're getting pressured, you know, there's jobs piling up, there's pressures to get information from the daughter about the mum, things like that. It's just, it can be very difficult, and I think that's what plays on people's minds, you know, decades later, years later,
100%.
as it is with you. I found dealing with death messages and the family probably the most confronting as a police officer.
That was the thing. I remember the first thing her mum said was, about time.
Sorry, she said?
She said, about time.
Wow.
That's how difficult her life was. So...
Did the mum give you some background about her?
The detectives went and told her. I was with the detectives at the time, and I remember I had to walk away and let the detectives do that, and that boiled my blood to hear that.
Yeah.
So with death messages, there's different outcomes. You know, there's ones that haven't hit them yet. You know, I delivered one once, and the mother goes, "Oh, thank you very much for that. No problem. You have a great day." I'm like, wow. And there's others that hit them straight away. Like, everyone takes things different, pain different.
Yes.
So there's no one rule. There's no one. You know, everyone's different.
Yeah.
And that goes with feelings as well, and how people deal with pain. And that's where I see it.
Yeah.
And that just showed me as well, you know, how people take things different, for sure.
Yeah. And I think there's no set way for a police officer. You can only play what's in front of you at that given time, and that is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
You don't know how the person's going to respond. They're what they're going to feel. Then is that going to trigger an emotion? Is it, are they going to be okay to leave on their own? All these things you don't know until you're actually experiencing it.
Yeah.
Just like any other job you go to, it's like you don't know what that neighbour dispute's going to be like until you knock on the door.
That's right.
Or that domestic, or, you know, it comes across the radio, this is the accident. Well, what am I going to get when I get there?
Yeah.
It's really difficult. The anxiety that can cause job after job after job for a police officer is it just mounts up over time.
Yeah, for sure.
Those 3 incidences that you've mentioned, did you ever speak to anyone about them? Did you, during or, you know, after those instances, did you have any counselling or?
During the time? No.
Yeah.
It was afterwards when I needed help. That was, that's when I seeked and talked about it. But during the time, no. Yeah. People didn't understand when I finished work, like during that day, unless you experienced it yourself. I had a couple of people ask me, "Oh yeah, but I'll watch it on YouTube. It's not so bad." There's a big difference watching something on YouTube or TV than facing in real life.
Yes.
Just a complete different ball game. And that's why it was hard for me to talk to anyone. And plus, I at the time I thought I didn't need to
Yes.
talk to anyone.
Yep.
At the time I thought I'm all good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
That's so common that a lot of emergency services do feel that, like, no, I'm okay. This hasn't affected me. Yeah. It's not until it just, you go to one job one day and it's like an avalanche. Then they all come back.
It's like a bucket.
Yes.
The way I see it, and it drips and drips and drips. And eventually it overfills.
Were there other stations other than Parramatta or units that you worked in?
I was always in Parramatta.
Yep.
I did proactive for a while.
Yep.
Good group of guys as well. Good management.
How did you find that time?
That was one of the best times I've had. The sergeant at the time, he handpicked his unit and everything, and group of guys that you can trust and help out in the street and everything. And
for those that don't know, what role did you play as a proactive unit?
Yeah.
What would you target?
We were plain clothes.
Yep.
Most of the time. We also caught the train and go different different LACs, different suburbs, dealing with breaking enters, drugs, things like that. So cases and intels we had, and
yeah, nice. How long did you do that for?
I did it for a couple of years. Yeah.
And so after that, did you go back to general duties, or?
I did.
Yep.
Yeah. Went back to.
And how long did you do general duties for after that?
A few more years.
How did you find the culture inside the station? Were people supportive of each other? Was there an encouragement that you could talk about jobs, share your emotions? Did you feel like that you had to put up this facade at work at all?
See, when I first joined, I didn't know anything about this mental health. I thought it's not so bad. It's not, it's all good. Like, but I've seen other senior officers that did go off work and did suffer, and I just didn't understand. And I wish I could turn back time. A lot of them, I was thinking, should I send them a message? And I go, nah, they probably don't want to hear from me. But at hindsight now, I wish I did, knowing more about it now.
Yes.
And so I didn't speak to much people about it because I thought I'm okay, like I'm all good.
Yeah.
And I think there was still a stigma involved with it because when some people did get off work, you can hear people talking about it and going, oh, this and that, and not making up, but their point of view about it. Oh, it didn't affect me or it didn't hurt me. Like, and I was the same too. Inside my head, I was going, well, I've seen a fair few things too, but not knowing that is slowly catches up.
Yeah, exactly. And you never ever know what someone is experiencing, and the same two people can go to the same job and have a completely different experience.
Correct. Yeah.
Based
100%.
on what's happening in their personal life, what they've been exposed to before. Are they using alcohol and drugs and sex, gambling on the side to cope with stuff that's already happened to them? And you become, one person can be fine and the other one's completely overwhelmed and their bucket spills over.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. And I think that was in around 2015.
Yeah.
Where I slowly started changing. My behavior started changing. My attitude started changing. I was getting angrier. I wasn't getting much sleep. But I was in denial. This is part of it is what it, keep going. It's a phase. I started drinking, eating, I was sleeping, having this, like that scream was one of the dreams. I wake up sweating and straight to the bottle. I was afraid to go back to sleep. I had people coming up to me telling me, "Oh, you okay? You know, like you're angry or like you're changing." And nah, you know, leave me alone. No. Yeah, it was bad. And that happened. Private life, home, and also work. But just refusing and denying that I had a problem, because it. Not knowing at the time, but he was sneaking up on me. It's not like you wake up one day and go, "Hey, I got this and that." You know, for me, it was just slowly catching up, and that's what made me real. Yeah. So
when you said that you were becoming angrier, do you remember an incident or an event you could share that you went, "Oh, maybe that's a bit inappropriate," or when you realised you were angrier, or someone had pointed out to you?
Well, people pointing out at me, and also I could also see it as well. Just incidents like going to jobs and snapping. Even to my colleagues as well. I worked with a junior officer at the time. I was at the passenger seat. Didn't get much sleep. I was already suffering, but not knowing. You know.
Yeah.
He was on his phone to his girlfriend, chatting. I let it be. He was driving. He hung up, and then he goes, "Oh, look, someone's on his phone. I'm going to pull him over, give him a ticket." I go, "No, you're not. You were just on your phone." And he goes, "Oh, I'm a cop. I don't give a shit who you are." And obviously, I said it in a bad way. And I go, I said, "If you pull him over, I'm going to hit you." You know, in a really aggressive way, like he was a hypocrite sort of thing, and just fired me up. He went back to the station, made a complaint and everything, and the sergeants took me in and said, "You don't threaten him. You don't. I know you're on the right sort of thing, but there's ways of doing it." And I took him outside. I had a good chat with him as well, and I didn't threaten him. I said, "If you wanted to do some boxing, I'd give him free lessons. It's a sport." I remember saying that to him, and just things like that. Like the way the final straw was, there was a stabbing in the golf course in Parramatta where the lady was walking. It was all over the news, and she got stabbed in the neck, and she was on the phone to her husband who was in India.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember hearing about that through the media. Yeah, it was a sad story.
Yeah. I was the first one there. I worked with the probation officer at the time. I got her to not to go near it, and I was doing CPR on her, and ribs broken. You know, doing CPR, and my arms getting stiff, trying to do my best to save her, and. Yeah, so long story short, when we got back to the station, the day shift inspector, he knew what was going on. I was looking at like a zombie doing, you know. First thing he tells me off is, "Oh, overtime form, and do your overtime form and all this." And I snapped. You know, last thing I want to hear is about OT. All he had to say was, "Are you okay?"
Yes.
That's it, you know. And that's what I screamed at him for. Like, I had blood all over me as well.
Yeah.
Really? Like, you're going to talk about OT? It's the last thing I want to care about at the moment, you know.
Yeah.
I failed. That's the way I felt. A failure. I try to save someone's life, but again, I just kept failing. I felt, I felt it's not fair. I'm not making a difference. I felt, you know, guilty.
Yeah.
Another one died in my arms, and another one, and then them against me. Like, this inspector is out of touch, or you know, and I was ready to hit him.
Yeah.
And
your bucket's so full.
But not knowing, like I knew, but I didn't, like.
Yeah.
And others can see it, but I couldn't. I was just, his face just kept going, like, but it was just getting worse, like, yeah.
When you say you felt like a failure, and I think a lot of us do experience that, do you still feel like that now when you look back on it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Can I ask what changed in that way?
For sure. That guilt at the time, wishing I was there 10 minutes before, wishing I was there 15 minutes before, I could have prevented this, but now knowing I don't have a crystal ball, I am not God, so I know that I couldn't change the situation. You can only change and do what you have in front of you, and knowing that and acknowledging that, changing, that knowledge and knowing that helped me understand that it's not my fault. I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could. So does everyone in this world. They wish you can turn back time and change something, but what you can change is what you do at that moment. And as long as you know that you've done your best. So out of all those jobs I went to, I go, you know what, I did my best, and it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it, and I couldn't turn back time, and I don't have that machine that I can go back 15 minutes, like in a movie or something, like, and save that person's life. Acknowledging that made me feel not guilty, because at the time I felt like a failure. The guilt ate me, like, another one, like, and then that ate me up inside, and knowing that it isn't my fault, and as long as you can help out and do your best.
Did you come to that realization yourself, or did you talk about that incident or the others which helped you realize that?
Yeah,
talking about it.
Yeah, talking about it and learning about it as well.
Yeah,
yeah. When I was at the hospital, I went to a hospital and learned all that. So
I'll get to that
for sure
shortly, because it's really important. And I think a message for anyone who is responsible for people on the front line, if you're in a management role or a supervisor's role, because I've heard this a number of times now, that the difference that you can make is, are you okay? Is the first things that, if that's your first question, the first responder, the police officer, the ambulance officer, fiery, nurse, if they hear that first, it puts everything else in check. Like, you feel cared about, you feel like you matter. But when they come to you after what you've just experienced, and they're shoving an overtime form in you or at you about a policy procedure, you don't feel like a number. You feel like just a piece of crap, really.
Yeah.
So just some advice for them. That 100%. Are you okay can make such a difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You also mentioned you started to put on weight. You started to eat.
Yeah.
That became more prevalent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. After that incident at Parramatta Park, it wasn't the last critical incident where I was sort of like suffering and not getting much sleep.
What was the other one?
The other big one was the Curtis Chang headquarters, the shooting. But it was a different kind of morning. I had, how can you say, like a gut feeling that something bad is going to happen today. Like a premonition sort of thing. Wow. And it was a hot day, I remember. It was a hot day. And I put my stab vest on. I remember the guys in the locker room go, "What are you putting that on? It's a hot day. It's going to be hot." I just have a bad feeling. And I worked with the probation officer. He was actually a good cop, even though he was a probation officer, but he was a good kid. Like, he was good. And I was glad to work with, like, got put on with him. And I told him in the morning, I said, I don't have a good feeling about today, man. Let's just, be extra vigilant. Let's be a heads up, you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, no, it's all going to be good. Detectives retrace this young kid, the terrorist, they call him, and they found out that he actually walked past me 3 times before the incident.
Wow.
Not once, but 3 times. The first time was when before it happened. The first time was, I remember going to the front of the station asking the injured officer that was there. This is before we had glass and protective in front of the station. After this incident, things changed around the state.
Yeah.
And I asked her, "Oh, do you want lunch?" And this is where he came out of the mosque, walked past Parramatta station in front of the doors, and I was by myself there, asking the injured officer if she wanted, restricted officer there, if she wanted lunch. The second time was the council camera actually took a photo, and I'll show you later on. The council photo took a photo of me at the crossing, and he ended up walking past me, and photo of me, and I was only a couple of meters, me and you away, and his mission was to kill a police officer.
Yeah, so I was going to get to that. That was part of his mission, was to target a police officer.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and this is where that guilt that I explained before ate me up later on. And he was only a couple of meters, walked past me across it. The photo, council took a photo of that because they retraced his steps. And the third one was, it was a job that a car was on top of a gutter in front of headquarters. And when we got there, their car wasn't there. And I remember the probation officer, I was working with my offsider. He said, "Should we fly the flag?" In other words, put a hat on and walk in front of headquarters, one of our taskings. And I grabbed the door handle, and that gut feeling set in again.
Wow.
I opened the door. 99% of the time we say, "Yeah, you know, put it. It's not hard. Like, go and walk." I opened that door, and that feeling in my stomach, like, I shut the door and I go, "Nah, keep driving." He goes, "What? You sure?" And I go, yeah, keep driving. I was senior to him, so he listened, and we drove. And then we weren't too far off, a few k's away, when the live feed came, active shooter. You know, that panic that set in. That there was a shooting in front of headquarters. What? You turn and we were we were one of the first ones there at the scene, and this is where one of the first ones. It was. This is before the newspaper. This is before the news. Before anything happened. So at the time, everyone's confused.
Yeah.
On what is going on. My offsider, he sort of panicked and, "Oh, what's going on?" You know, I had to calm him down, and I said, "Look, your task is just take photos. You know, like take photos of everything." There was bodies on the ground, and Chinese whispers that they were working together, staff members, and no one knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Basically, and I told everyone to move. Everyone got away. Everyone moved. I sent my dad a text message quickly, "I love you," because I thought this guy was, you know, strapped with someone's on the phone in the unit. I had no time to call the bomb squad or anything like that. I had to do what I had to do at the time.
You needed to know for yourself and
for everyone else.
Protect everyone.
And I said, I sent my dad a message, and my heart beating with 1,000 miles, and everyone moved out of the way, and quick prayer. And I searched the body, and there was nothing on him, nothing. So, but we still used it like that. And it was a massive day. Yeah. It was like one of the things that we weren't prepared. The New South Wales Police wasn't prepared for the situation. Hours later, when the assistant commissioners and too many chiefs, not many Indians, basically. I remember one of them said it. "Oh, who searched the body? We'll get the bomb squad." And I said, "Sir, I didn't. He goes, what? Who told you to do that? I go, no one. Like, you have to act. I had no justification to call the bomb squad. Like, if I called in the radio, can you get the supervisor to authorize or whatever it is, like.
Yeah.
And I had to do what I had to do. It doesn't matter if I was in the wrong, and I'll get complaints later on. It is, at the time, I had to do the right thing, and mind you, I didn't get any sleep the night before. I think I only had maybe 40 minutes in the car. I slept for 40 minutes, quick nap. But when this incident is like a shot of, coffee.
You're alive,
Red Bull,
yeah.
and alive, and just made me, But the bucket was overfilling before this incident, and then this incident, made it a bit worse. And then finding out from the detectives, they go, "Oh, look, there's a photo of you. He went past you in the crossing, and he went past you in the station." And then, that made me worse, because I said, "Fuck! Like, I could have done something. Like, at the crossing, he walked past me, and I could have saved Curtis Chang and innocent people, and that guilt, ate me more." And
was there anything about his demeanour or that kid that made you feel that you needed to stop him? Or?
I mean, it's a multicultural area.
Yeah,
Parramatta. It's not like there's
There was nothing out of the ordinary,
nothing out of the ordinary at all. It wasn't like acting all, you just look straight ahead and so.
Eventually, when you were able to process it, did that help you to get over the feeling of guilt that?
Later on.
Yeah.
And there was another critical incident as well after that, and then that was the final draw. And I was still in denial. My anger was getting worse. My alcohol was getting worse, until the superintendent, the boss himself, actually took me outside upstairs. He goes, "I need to see you." Himself. I go, "Yeah, boss." And he goes, "Listen, I've heard rumors, about your breath, alcohol. I've heard you started changing a bit, and not only that, you were like a shit magnet this year, and all these incidents that you've been involved in, I'm going to write a report and send you to the police medical officer in the city, the PMO." So what? Okay. All right. He's the boss. I had no choice, basically. And so he sent me to the police medical officer, and after a while there, they diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress, PTSD. And when things got worse before it got better.
What was your initial reaction to that?
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the only doctor that told me. There was a few. And the report and everything.
Yeah.
So I started eating more, drinking more, not knowing what to do. I was thinking what other people at work are going to think about me, and this can't be happening, Still not acknowledging, it got much worse. It got to a stage that I went to 180 kilos, close to 200 kilos of weight.
Wow. And what were you when you joined the police? Do you remember?
85, 90.
Wow.
95.
So you've put on about 100 kilos.
Yeah, when I first joined, yeah.
Yeah, from when you first joined.
Yeah. And I was, 180. And
did you, at any point along that way, did you feel like you were in trouble? I need to stop. What's happening?
No, I kept going till I was 180 kilos. Still in denial, still like a negative naysayer, making excuses for other people. Like if I see someone fit, that's because that person has better shoes, or that person's got a better life, that person's lucky, I can do that as well. So I wasn't accountable. ownership of my own self-being, you know, and it came to a stage that I thought, well, maybe I need to get some help, and I went to the doctors.
Do you remember that? What sparked that? I need help.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't fit shoes. I had gout. I dropped a vase on my feet and got the stitches and couldn't walk 10 meters. I was in bad shape. Couldn't breathe. Smoking, drinking. It was just so bad.
Were you still working?
No, I was off work.
So
I was off work, and they sent me to the hospital. I went to St. John of God in Broad.
Yep.
And learning, processing, taking it all in. I wanted to, and it was hard, but I gained a lot of knowledge, and that helped me get that help to go to the doctors eventually, like that guilt, finding out that, hey, it wasn't my fault, so you shouldn't feel guilty. And so I went to the doctors, and that was the spark. I'm grateful for this doctor because he gave me tough love.
Do you remember what he said?
Yeah, definitely do. I went in and I said, look, I think I need to lose some weight, huh? He goes, yeah, I think so too. You're 180. He goes, you know what? I got a friend who does weight loss surgery. I'm going to sign you up, work will pay for it, blah, blah, blah. And he's doing it in my behalf. That got me angry. I go, wait a minute. No, I could do this myself. And he goes, son, this is what he said. He goes, son, you know how long I've been a doctor for? I don't know. He goes, I've been a doctor for 20 years. Yeah. And the way he looked at me, the eyes don't lie. And he goes, you won't be able to knock. Yeah, I can. He goes, you can't even do a knee push-up. I go, yeah, I can. I went on my knees, tried to do a knee push-up. And he was right. I couldn't even do a knee push-up. And he goes, anyway, continue. It got me so worked up. And I said, you know what, doc? No, don't do that. I'll be back. He goes, yeah, you will be back. Like saying, you won't be able to do it. And I said, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need this. There's nothing wrong with that, but let me put some effort in first, yeah?
Yeah.
And he goes, all right.
That's just the way you wanted to do it.
Yeah. And I went into the car and completely broke down. I broke down. Cried. I needed that, eh? Like it was just... Got everything out. And I looked in the rear vision mirror, in my eyes, and I said, from now on, you have to do this no matter what. No matter what happens. How? I don't know. I can't even do a knee push-up. But it doesn't matter how. As long as that time my mindset started changing. So I started listening to different podcasts. I started listening to motivation videos. I had to do what I had at the time. Do what you can, what you got. And I said, it's going to be a hard journey. And that night I went to my parents' house, told my dad. And he gave me the same look the doctor gave me. Like the doctor, don't get me wrong, they cared for me. They loved me. But didn't give you that, no chance. My dad gave me that look and goes, oh, okay, son. Yeah.
That emotion that come out in the car, was that relief? Or was it, were you scared? Or do you remember what that feeling was? Because why I ask is when I was at my rock bottom and I went and I went to a GP and I was surrounded by so many people. I never told a soul what I was actually going through. And then I went to my GP, and then when she said, how can I help you? And I cried for like 10 minutes. I couldn't speak. But like you just said, it triggered my memory of it. It's just this outpouring of stuff. And I remember just being so relieved
Yeah.
And so I had this feeling of being scared and fearful, and then being able to say to someone, I need help, the relief of saying that to someone else, the outpouring of emotion was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering if you had that
Yeah.
was similar for you.
Very similar, and also knowing the task at hand,
Yes.
how difficult it's going to be. It's
overwhelming.
It's another mountain to climb, and I knew it's going to be a very big mountain because I knew how I was 180 kilos. I know I couldn't walk much. I couldn't do much, but that determination, and it's not motivation, because motivation comes and goes. You know, when you don't feel like it, you won't do it, but you have to be driven.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I felt, and I said, oh.
Yeah.
And then things got worse, you know, like, and then I did reconnect with Sergeant Sturley, shout out, Mick Sturley. There's a program that helped me out. So I started changing, like I remember sleeping in the car park, because the thing was, I was getting better, but within a few months the damage was done already, and I lost my family. You know, I got kicked out of home, and I was on the road to recovery, but the damage was already done from before. My attitude, my anger, the isolation. When I used to finish work and just go in the backyard and drink, and just even my kids ignore, and because I didn't want to talk about my day, and so the damage was done, and I got kicked out of home, and then again I was too ashamed, because I was getting better, but I was too shameful. I didn't want to tell my parents that I was telling them I was getting better. I'm going to try to lose weight, and all of a sudden I just got kicked out of home, and so I slept in the car. I was basically homeless, and I remember doing Reconnect, and it was like it's a rehab facility sort of thing, and they were helping me out with the weight loss, and the most gratitude I ever had was when I slept in the car, got out, and I see birds singing, and I was breathing, and I said, I had gratitude, hey, like, even though I wasn't in a comfortable bed, but it just made me realize to have gratitude. And there's obstacles, and this was a big obstacle, like what happened to me, and he paused me, obviously, but I didn't want to go backwards. So in other words, I didn't want to use as an excuse to drink again, as an excuse, even though it was one of the worst things that happened to me. But I didn't, because I already had that accountability when I looked at myself, when I broke down, to not go backwards no matter what, and to use that as no excuses no matter what. And that's what it was. So I didn't drink, I didn't eat bad, I still cut out the sugar. And you got to change that mindset, because my mindset changed that day, and I knew it's going to be hard, but I didn't know the obstacles that's going to happen. So,
can you share up to that point what your mindset was? Being kicked out of home, and then shameful to tell your parents, and so you're living in the car. Was your mindset up to that point kind of in the past, and in sort of feeling this guilt and shame, and then you woke up that morning with a feeling of acceptance of exactly where you are in life, and then once you accepted that, you could then move forward?
Yeah. 100%. I remember breathing and having gratitude and going, I'm here,
alive.
I grounded myself.
This is my foundation. This is all I've got.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going from here.
One thing I learned is grounding myself.
Yeah.
Because, I still had bad dreams and everything. And so I ground myself, hold my breath for 7 seconds. Breathe for 7 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, release for 7 seconds, or 5 seconds, whatever it is. But and that's what I continue doing, and gratitude. It's amazing.
That's very powerful what you've just shared. And so were you on medication at this time?
In the beginning, I was like sleeping medication and whatnot. The other ones I refused to take. When I found out this mindset, I found different ways of medicating myself. Like, example, like what I said, when I had bad dreams, is where before I didn't go back to sleep, I drank and ate, scared to go back to sleep. Now these days, and I still have it these days, you can't help yourself. The conscience is still there when you're sleeping, and the things I've dealt with. But I do different stuff, like wake up, okay, touch something, or I even pinch myself a little bit. I'm okay. Breathe. And keep breathing, because no matter what situation you're in, no matter where you are, you can always breathe. And that was a tough situation, but ground myself and then go back to sleep. And I'm able to go back to sleep because I've changed the way I was inside. And I've had here's another challenge. When I found a friend who was living by himself in Lane Cove, and he goes, "Oh, live with me." I go, "Oh, mad, okay." I knew him since we were young and everything.
Yep.
Long story short, and then I joined a weight loss challenge. And this was a challenge that I said to myself that, again, no matter what obstacles I have, I'm going to win it. I'm going to do my best to win this. And not knowing my friend, he liked alcohol, and he complained about life a lot.
Yeah.
Blamed the world for a lot, and he was very hard to live with. Waking me up at 2:00 in the morning to drive him to the service station to get meat pies, and I'm actually in this competition, this weight loss competition. And I remember thinking to myself, obstacles in my life. This is not helping me at all.
Yeah.
But he's doing me a favor, and I'm living with him. And but his negativity in life and life
conflicting, isn't it?
Conflicting, but I continued and drove from there to Campbelltown. Shout out to Mighty Fitness, Ivan and those guys were great, and a lot of them. And I ended up winning the competition, considering the obstacles I had and injuries I had from work. I had golfer's elbow, nerve problem in my elbow, and knee problem because I had a lot of injuries from work.
Yeah,
like physical injuries that I end up going to hospital, and but doesn't matter what kind of injuries no one's forcing me to eat the bad foods.
That's right.
No one's forcing me, and because I'm injured or because something happened, it's not an excuse not to eat bad. And don't get me wrong, we all fall down and we all do that, but so.
Do you remember how much weight you lost in that challenge?
I did 2 challenges. The first one I lost 11 kilos, I think it was. And even the mindset it's mind growth, where you learn more mentally. And that was a great learning task, because the winner of that competition, I remember thinking, oh, that's because his wife is in the same competition. His wife cooks for him all the time. And so I was not knowing, but I wasn't 100% accountable. And I was still making excuses, even though I was getting better, even though I was on the road to recovery, but I was still blaming, that person because he... When the time I did the second one, I said, you know what, it's not because that person cooked. It's because he's disciplined.
Yes.
It's because of that person's his work ethic.
Yes.
And I said, nah. So the second one, I said, nah. And that's when I was living with my friend who was out of alcohol problems, driving so far. I drove from Lane Cove to Campbelltown, which is a fair distance.
Absolutely.
A fair distance. I remember sleeping at the gym in the car so I could wake up and train. And I said, there's not going to be an excuse this time around.
Yeah.
there's not going to be. And I won the competition. I ended up losing 22 kilos or something like that, or
Wow.
something
you've lost,
massive.
what was the time frame? 8 or 12 weeks?
8 weeks.
So you've lost around double the
Yeah.
amount of weight in the
That's right.
same time, and the only thing difference was your mindset.
Correct. Yes.
To be accountable to yourself,
Yep.
to not make excuses, not compare yourself to other people,
Yes.
and commit the work ethic, commit to what actually needs to be done.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
comparing yourself with others is the worst thing to do. It's you versus you.
Yes.
And that's the way I saw it. It's you versus you, and you want to be the better version who you were yesterday.
Yes.
And if something happens, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And enjoy the process as well. Don't drag your feet. Enjoy the process. It's going to be tough, but you choose what is it. It's going to be hard. You choose your hard. You know, it's going to be hard if you eat bad. You're going to feel guilty, or it's going to be hard to eat good. You choose your hardness. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And just enjoy the process, and that's what I did all through the challenge. And and the helping out others as well during the journey was the main thing for me. To encourage them and help them out. Second place was Alina, and she went through some illness lately, and her mindset to overcome that. She had some type of cancer, and she fought that lately, and helping out during her journey in the beginning when we did that weight loss, and she lost a lot, and she's fighting. So it helps out in life in general. So yeah.
So just to backtrack a little bit, being in the car and being kicked out of home, was that your rock bottom?
No.
Are you able to share what that was?
No, the rock bottom was before I went to the doctors. Or the doctors, that was rock bottom. Where being in denial still.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like a tunnel of darkness, and not having faith that there was light on the other side.
Yeah.
Not believing that something you don't see. Like, it was just complete darkness for me. Like the guilt I was saying before. Everything was dark in the world.
Yeah.
Negative in the world. The world is turned to shit,
Did you ever have thoughts of ending your life?
Yeah, definitely. Close to it.
Do you know what kept you from doing that?
There was a little fence. I was too fat to climb over it, to be honest with you. It was that funny. It wasn't funny because I was at a point that I felt like no one cared for me. No one. I was too fat to climb over this fence, and it was like a bird that was next to me. Like, he just flew, and I looked over this bird and I said, "I can't even do this." And I laughed. Like, it was just weird, like bizarre, and I just laughed at myself.
Wow.
And I just laughed at myself, and then. And I drove back, and like that doctor acknowledging to myself that changing mindset slowly, changing my diet around just slowly, like slow steps. Like, when I was at the car, when I broke down and I looked at myself, what am I going to do? Like, I see people running marathons or half marathons or walking fast, or they fit. And I knew the journey is going to be hard. Like, I went to a gym. I went on a treadmill. And there was fit people next to me, attractive girl next to me, and other fit people, I called the trainer. I said, "Hey, something's wrong with the treadmill." There was nothing wrong with the treadmill. I was just too heavy for it.
Wow.
And that's why I wasn't working. He was so embarrassed. Looked at the girl next to me, and she looked at me like sympathy. And so I learned quickly that, again, it's you versus you, and it doesn't matter how you look, as long as you're doing something about it day by day, because it was embarrassing and whatnot.
What did you do with that? What you would have felt embarrassment for that?
Big time, yes.
And so what was your mindset from that? Like, okay, I can't get on the treadmill, so did that eat at you for a while, or did you say, well, this is the way it is and I'm going to do something else?
Yeah. The way I learned as well, don't let your emotions take control of you. For example, when you wake up in the morning, the first 10 seconds will like if you want to go to the gym in the night before and you wake up in the morning and go, no, I'm just too tired. And then within the first 10 seconds, you're going to find excuses because all the voices in your head saying not to go. But you conquer that and you go, no, there's no reason. Your legs are fine. Your arms are fine. You're breathing. Go for it.
Yeah.
Because you never know what life can throw at you. And that's what occurred to me. I'll go, yep. I'll go, you know what? It's good that I actually changed the mindset saying, you know what? It's good that I'm 180 kilos, 170, or I was going down 160, 150. I went to Johnny Big, for example, and I did it on purpose. I go, yeah, I'll get the 7 extra large shirts, fit me. How's it look? Good. I go, I'm actually going to get 5XL. And she goes, oh, yeah. And I go, I know it's not going to fit me, but I'm going to put it in the cupboard. And then down the track, I'll go and get the 5XL, go back to the shop. I'm going to buy 3XL. Okay, cool. I'll go log it down in your system. Okay, log it down in your system. So I'll buy smaller clothes. I wake up in the morning, I'm looking, I go, I'm going to fit in you one day. One day I will. I'm going to fit on you. So that was like a driving force. People put photos, people can, things like that to motivate themselves in the morning. Mine was the shirt, and I go, yeah, that's a smaller size, and it doesn't matter how long it will take, but
everyone's got to find what works for them.
Yeah.
What's your motivator? What's the fuel you're gonna use to keep burning when motivation's not there? When there's no spark? What's the fuel that's gonna keep that burning? So for you, it's the shirt.
Yeah, to find your reason why.
Yeah,
and use negativity. I had circle of friends that would go, no chance you're going to do this and that. And I go, fuel to the fire. I loved it. I go, give me more, So I use it as fuel to the fire. That treadmill, fuel to the fire. The clothes, it just fed me more. And knowing that as long as you're trying to make a difference to yourself, that's what counts.
Yeah. So just when you're at that 180 kilos and you're at that start line of losing that weight, it's just something each day, isn't it? It's not getting too far ahead of yourself. It's not allowing obstacles to stop you.
Yeah.
It's just you do whatever you can in your control, whether that's eating or just moving, whatever you can, however you can.
Yeah.
Each day. And I think you said something before about you just don't want to go backwards.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you have to pause for a day, then that's where you are. And then the next day you can move another step forward, and then you might go another step forward, but then pause because you're not feeling that great, or you've had an obstacle, but don't go backwards.
Yes.
Just keep moving forward.
Exactly. Step by step. Not looking at the big picture. Like when I was there, I didn't look at the big picture that I'm going to win a challenge, because you never know how life is.
That's right.
So I took it day by day and wrote things down in a journal. You need to keep yourself accountable. Tell people about it. Say, you know what, today I'm going to do good. Tell someone.
Yeah.
Spread that. And when you want to feel, because temptation comes in, I just told someone. I wrote it down, because you can't lie to yourself as well. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you're lying to yourself. So because there's no one around, no one would know. Yeah, and it's easy to get bad food, for example.
Yes.
But you got to be truthful to yourself, complete ownership.
And it's the story that you tell yourself in the mind. So if someone says to you, you're not going to lose that weight, so that can go into your mind, and you can either use that as, you know what, you're right, I'm not going to lose that weight, and I'm just going to go back, and what's the point? I'll just go back to doing whatever I was doing.
Yeah. And
then you feel like shit and the weight goes back on. Or you can do what you did and say, that story goes into the mind and go, oh, so you don't think I can do it, watch me. And then it becomes a positive.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's all about what the story is in your mind and how that is interpreted.
Correct.
And
it is, and it can be hurtful.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's how you take it and drill on that, because
Yeah. So you then got, as the weight started to come off and you started to experience different things, you might have been able to run. You went into boxing.
yes,
Got some what was that experience like?
it was. There's no other. I wanted to help others and say I've done this, and do the biggest challenge I can and jump in the ring, in the boxing ring, and train for that. And it's only you there. There's no escape. The adrenaline and full contact as well, and but it's the best experience as well, and there's no other feeling like that. And I love boxing. I followed boxing all my life, and but it's
so
a whole
did you
different
train
ballgame.
specifically for something, or did you just start doing boxing for weight loss,
I,
and then you ended up getting into the
Yeah.
ring? Or
I actually did the first ever New South Wales Police event. I was the last fight in it.
was that for New South Wales Police Legacy?
Legacy, yes,
Yeah.
New South
So
Wales
I
Legacy.
happen to have a T-shirt here that so New South Wales Police Boxing Gala Fight Night, right?
Yeah.
And
Look out!
so right down the bottom there,
There it is.
Dave Cafferatta.
Look out!
How does that feel to see
It feels
your name
good.
on a
Actually,
shirt?
if you have a white texter, I might sign it for you. Like,
Yeah, perfect. 100%. I'll do that. What's that like?
That's it's you know what it is. It's to show that if you have the right mindset, things can. Great blokes in there.
Yeah.
People that things can be done.
Yes.
As long as you believe in yourself, and just keep going.
What did you weigh when you jumped in the ring?
That particular fight, I think it was 109 kilos on that one.
And how long did it take you to go from 180 plus to 109 kilos?
It, year and a bit, year and a half.
Wow.
And I have a lot of people like my father go, that was fast. And the way I told him was, it's because I took a step, paused, step, pause, step. Where other people might go, step, backwards, because something happened in their life.
Yes.
Step, where I'm pausing, step, they go backwards, step.
Yes.
You see, and it's not because everything was going great for me. It's not like I had the best trainer and the best food. I had a chef, I had the best gym. I was sleeping in my car during the process. I was, but I was consistent, and I took advantage of what I had and what I got.
Yes.
And that's what counts. And that's why he took that time frame, a year and a half, 2 years. It wasn't, so it's basically not going backwards, because it would have taken me much longer if I went backwards, like drinking again and backwards. It'd be hard to find that back to square one again and keep going.
I love how you refer to it as, while other people go step, backwards, where you go step, pause, because something's happened in life. And then you just got to take stock, let the dust settle on that, and then take steps forward, rather than most people go backwards and retreat back to the shields or the soothing mechanisms that they use to get by, to cope with that life event. But if you can just pause, take those breaths, and then move forward, and that might be a week, but it's all about just making sure you don't go backwards.
Yes.
So just pausing.
Yeah, and that was a challenge.
Yeah.
It was a challenge. And
so what's it like being in the ring and it's ding ding?
Yeah,
What's the feeling like?
This guy's trying to knock me out. This guy's trying to hurt me. And I didn't. The guy, he is such a nice guy, a great guy. So I didn't have that anger, that killing instincts. Like, if you gave me boxing gloves back when I was suffering, it would be sloppy, but I just want to hurt him. It was a different. This is like it's a science, like it's a sports science. It's a sport. It's tactic. It's like a game of chess, but trying to tag him. I didn't want to hurt him, but I did hit him a few times hard. He hit me too. He busted my nose, but but it was all love. It wasn't a street fight or anything. It was, and there's no other feeling like that. The crowd's watching, and but basically showing that, hey, I was able to do this where it was impossible not long ago.
Yeah.
To do this.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
Within 20 seconds, I would have,
Yeah. Did anywhere along the way of losing 80 kilos, did you become emotional or have that? Was there just this constant feeling of just accomplishment, or did you ever have those moments where you're so proud of yourself you would trigger a feeling and an emotion, or did you ever experience anything like that?
Yeah, a few times, but a lot of times was putting myself down and saying, to help me. I used negative as positive. I used bad things positive. I changed my mindset, saying, like, wake up in the morning, I don't feel like training. You get up, you fat, telling me off.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, you achieved that, because that brought me, I think that would have brought me back to laziness.
Yeah.
I just tell him, you get up. You did more than that. What are you doing? Okay, bang, do it. So, but it was a positive for me. So it was, I wanted to achieve more for myself, you versus you, like I was saying. It's not comparing myself to other people. And I think that's what helped me.
So Dave Goggins mindset.
Yeah, stay hard.
Stay hard.
Exactly. And I've exactly watched a lot of his stuff as well.
Yeah.
And just to keep going, just stay hard, and same thing. And Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
When I lost all that weight and I jumped in the ring, I remember it was only a year and a half, 2 years later, Tyson Fury did the same thing. He was 180 kilos.
Yeah. And
he lost it. He was changed his perspective about life, and I said, wow, hey, I did it before you. You copied me. But it was amazing that he can spread that news. And he actually says it now. He goes, if I can change one person's life, you achieve that, and
that's what matters.
That's what matters. Yep. is achieving it, and that's why I did that. And I also did a 24-hour treadmill challenge. It was a suicide prevention to a gym I'd never been to, Anytime Fitness. I wasn't a member.
Wow.
It was at Lane Cove, and I signed up for it. I went in there, and they said to me, "Oh, what team you have?" I go, "Team." Yeah, and I go, "No, I'm by myself." And they go, "What?" And I go, "I thought this was a challenge 24. It is, but we got a team of 20, team of 15, and constantly." And they go, "Oh, and you can do, And I go, "Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do the whole 24 hours myself." Not knowing everyone, they were all strangers, and I had 24 hours people next to me in other treadmills doing the challenge, and I did 24 hours non-stop. I went to the toilet like 2-3 times. Lucky I didn't have to sit, because I don't think my legs would stand it. I didn't train for it. It wasn't I wasn't that fit. And rookie mistake in the beginning, I went a bit faster, like power walking. By the 24 hours, I think I was doing 1.5 or something. My hips, my legs, my back. That
would have been excruciating. What did you weigh when you did that?
When I did that, it was like 125, 130. I was losing a lot, back in the weight. But I broke it down. I had a paper and texter, and I broke it down in 15 minutes. So 4 of that is 1 hour. So every time I did 15 hours, I crossed out the 15 to play games with my mind, because 24 hours is a long time. And then walking constantly.
What would you think about? Where did your mind go when you were walking?
There was always people next to me. And my mindset was, you're not getting off this no matter what. And break it down. 15 minutes doesn't seem that long. If you do it, I've got 3 hours left. That's the same distance of here to Canberra or something like that. You're not, I don't think I'll be able to complete it.
Yes.
So I had 15 minutes, cross 15 minutes, another 15 minutes. It didn't seem long. So I had a time. I go, it's only 15 minutes,
Yeah.
And then just kept going and doing that and pacing myself and just going. And yeah, it was a good achievement doing 15 minutes. The owner of one of the Anti-Time Fitness gave me a year membership for free as well.
Oh, fair income.
And gave me all these prizes because they promoted me and going, this guy is not even a member of any time and he's doing this for us, and they gave me free membership, and I didn't ask for any of that, and I just wanted to do it for that cause and raise money for suicide prevention and what I've experienced, and shout out to Rob from Melbourne. He went to different gyms and he did it as well, and I met him and still friends with him, and he was in the army, and he had suicide thoughts as well, and he broke through it and he's fighting through it. But that was an experience. Yeah, so
that's amazing that you just rocked up and just did that.
Just rocked up and then did it. And I remember I had to walk home after that. They offered me, I remember they said, do you want to lift home? I said,
Surely someone gave you a lift home.
I said no.
Oh, wow.
And
how far was that?
It's supposed to be a 10-minute walk. It took me around 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I also did for mental health, I did a marathon, 42.5 Ks, I think it is a marathon, without training.
Wow.
Let's just say the last kilometres, this is outdoor, the last few kilometres took me maybe 25, 30 minutes to do okay. My hip was gone, and again, your mindset has to be on tap, like
what are you saying to yourself when you're hurting?
Pain is temporary, and you can keep going. You've been through worse. You felt worse, like when I was at rock bottom, and it's a blessing in disguise being through those darkness times, because you've been through worse than this. Enjoy the process. Enjoy this pain.
Enjoy the pain.
I mean, because I needed to complete that finish line no matter what. And like I said, it took me like half an hour to do okay.
Yeah,
that's longer. Like my hip, but it was for a good cause.
Yes,
it's for a challenge for mental health, and I can't wait to continue doing more.
Have you got any more events that you've got your eye on?
Last year, I signed up to do the boxing again, but COVID hit.
Yep.
The Rona. And this year, I wanted to do it as well.
Yeah, so I think boxing might be out for a little while.
Yes.
Can you share what's happened to your arm?
Yeah. 2 days before my son's birthday, January 7th this year. The morning of, I was doing boxing. I had a videotaped. I loved it. Like the video was saying, "Oh, I can't wait to do the boxing tonight." Later on in the year, and then hours later at night time, I was trying to shut a side window. A bit hard to shut, and it became easier. Shut it, slammed, the window broke, and my arm went straight through the glass. And my son was there, and he started screaming, and what are you crying? What's wrong? It's only a glass. I thought he was crying for the glass because he shattered, he broke old school glass. Yeah. And then I saw the blood, and I had a jacket. I took the jacket off, and blood squirting everywhere. He's panicking, and I'm trying to calm him down. It's only a scratch, but I ended up cutting my artery completely off. 100%. My tendon, 100%, and 60%, 50-60% of my nerve, my ulnar nerve. So,
and it's about halfway along your forearm.
Yeah.
It's in there. Yeah. Wow. That's how many stitches are in that?
It's a good 40 plus, 45,
yeah,
something like that. And
I'll put up some pictures of multiple things across this, but definitely put one up about that.
A litre loss, blood, and the ambos took a long time, and they had to get caught again. I'm trying to hold as much I can because I knew I was losing a lot of blood. I ended up losing a litre they said the blood squirting everywhere, the artery, and trying to breathe. Again, when you practice things in life, that mindset is you use it when unexpected things happen in life. And one of the things I've learned was breathe, calm, because not knowing what happened, I didn't know the artery was. I knew something was wrong, like a lot of blood squirting everywhere.
Yeah,
when you panic more, I think I would have lost much more, and then especially seeing that blood, my heart would have raced more, and
we would have pumped it out harder.
Yeah, and especially the amber. 1 minute seemed like 20 minutes and a half. It seemed time stands still. That's the main one thing I should have said about boxing is 20 seconds seems like 20 minutes. Time is complete different. You watch a movie, 5 minutes goes really quick. You do boxing for 3 minutes or 2 minutes, it seems like a long, long time.
Yeah,
and the same as well.
You were saying that the ambos took half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah, they were busy.
By the time
and,
they were arrived.
And I think they had to call twice.
Wow.
It was a mistake. I think they must have done a mistake calling the ambos or something. But they were completely busy, and they were great when they turned up, and they had a great sense of humour. And one of the ambulance took photos of mum. It was her birthday. She had a birthday thing, and happy birthday to her.
Yeah.
And
I saw a photo of the bathroom. It was horrific.
Yeah, because the first place I went to, because instincts, it's like when you're sick, when you want to vomit or something, you go to the bathroom. So I ran to the bathroom, and I thought, what am I doing here? Like, let's go back to the bed or something, get a towel, and so
wow.
I went to the bathroom at first, and
So going back to the mindset, you've had your prognosis of recovery is the nerves in your arm are going to grow a half a millimetre a day.
Half a millimetre a day.
And you've worked out that the size of the cut for those nerve endings to grow, for you to get full feeling back, is going to be about 600 days, or getting
30 centimetres, half a millimetre a day, 600 days plus.
So your mindset around that of being able to have full use of your arm again, what's that like?
Yeah, like the morning of, my passion was boxing, and I really had the mindset of training as hard as I can to fight later on in the year. A few fights, I wanted to do different competitions as well, but when this happened, is adapt and overcome. I had to change, improvise, because I knew it was my strong hand as well. So I had to do everything with my left, and that was tough, because I did fall a bit, because I didn't expect it. That life, when life hits hard. It's like one of the sayings Rocky says. It's not how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. But this one I didn't expect. I was really looking forward to training and weights, and I had a program, I had everything going, and then my life just turned again. I put some weight back on, and it's good. I'm here now. It's good. People watching. Maybe down the track, you can have a quick video podcast or something, because my aim now is to focus and hold everyone accountable again, hold myself accountable, because I do need to lose around 10, 15 kilos.
Yep.
It'd be good too, because I used it as, there was a few times I used it as an excuse and ate bad and whatnot. But at the end of the day, no one forces me to eat bad.
Yep.
And I realized that, and I got back up, and I do different things. So instead of boxing, I'll go for walks, because I couldn't move my arm because of the nerve. Every time I had it in the sling for a bit, and I had it up here, so I couldn't run, because every time I run, I can feel, the nerve pain is just, it's bad,
Yeah.
But now I can move it more. It's been a couple of months now.
You're driving.
I'm driving, left-handed. My writing's still terrible with both hands anyhow, So, but in fact, with my nephews yesterday, I was practicing on left, and so I hold myself. There's no excuses because this happened. Doesn't mean I can do. It does hurt. Life.
You can let everything go to shit. It's not the excuse that you need. Yeah.
And now, I went to the gym, and obviously I had to cancel the boxing and everything. But going on the treadmill, walking. Now I'm jogging and getting back into that fitness because I lost a lot of the fitness, and now I hold myself accountable and doing my own weight loss challenge again, and trying to lose that weight, because as long as you don't go backwards too much, and it's I wake up in the morning, it's like a nightmare, but it's a good thing. I say it's good. It's a bit better. Not much, 0.5 millimeter a day.
I've got another 0.5 mil.
0.5 mil, another 599 days. It's all good. But I can still use my left. And thinking to myself, life can be much worse. Imagine I didn't have my left hand. I could still pull my clothes and tie my shoelaces as a challenge. It would take much longer.
You could have died.
And I could have lost my arm, and I could have died. I could have bled out. You're right. Yeah.
To have that severed artery and to be, I'll put the photos up. That's, to be alive after that is a lucky thing.
Yeah.
So it's just gratitude, isn't it?
Gratitude and gratitude for sure.
Can you go back to, there's a lot of people who have reached out to me who watch the podcast. You said you went into St. John of God at Burwood for a stay. Can you share how long you were in there? What was it like? What was the feeling in you when the first day that you were there?
Yeah.
How did you get out of? What did they help you there?
Yeah.
So what was that like?
It was first time going there. It's just knowing I do have a problem, acknowledging that, and so I do need help.
Yes.
And sharing it with different people in the I say classroom sort of thing, like count AA meeting or something like that about it. But there was one from Afghanistan. Shout out to Shane. He was from Afghanistan, and he's got a book out as well. And AMBO police officers, and there's a few people in the class that didn't want to accept the help. It's not going to work, this and that, negativity. And I said, no, I've got to give it a chance. These guys know what they're talking about. So I had to acknowledge that and not listen to naysayers sort of thing.
It's about being open-minded to the process.
Open-minded to the process, because if you go in there and go, no, you're not going to get help. If you refuse that and use that as an excuse, you're not going to get the help.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're open-minded about it and say, you know what, let's see, what I got to lose. Mm-hmm. Can't get any worse than this, And I got a lot, I got a lot. They told me about the guilt. I remember they took me aside once and had a personal conversation with me, and I told them about the guilt and broke down, and they told me about, you shouldn't feel like that. It's not your fault. You don't have a crystal ball, and you're not, the man above. You're not God. You don't know these things.
Yeah.
So I learned that, and I learned about grounding myself. I learned about the breathing, and I learned to be your own accountability. You have to take responsibility. Will Smith said something that stuck by me. He said, it's not your fault something happened to you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault if you got abused as a child. Mm-hmm. It's not your fault if you saw these bad things, or you dealt with these bad things, or you had death in the family. It's not your fault. But it's your responsibility to do something about it. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to do something about it. And that stuck by me, and it's so true. And I've learned little things like that, and you got to do it yourself as well. Like maybe everything's against you, So the fire inside you has to be bright more than the fire outside of you.
Yeah.
No matter what. Yeah. So you got to just believe in something you do not see, and have faith of things that you do not see as well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you believe or what religion you are. You know, I prayed and I pray to God to help me as well. Everyone's different, you know, as long as you believe in yourself in the end of the day.
Yes.
And that's what counts.
Yeah, absolutely. Did they have any emphasis on mindfulness and exercise?
Yes.
In there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Heaps of mind growth and mindset and everything like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I do find that that's a common theme of breathing, you know, practicing how to lower your heart rate, how to, when you feel that emotion or those feelings and anxiety rising, to use breathing as a way to calm that or to stop that from rising. Eating well, you know, trying to get your sleep into check. So routine is big. So exercise, mindfulness, and then obviously the work on the mind with, you know, dealing with the traumas that you've been exposed to. So that seems to be the common themes that come out of, you know, different programs or facilities, but back to those core principles of grounding yourself in looking after your body in terms of sleep, how you eat, how you move.
Yeah. Have an open mind. Like
and have an open mind.
Because if you don't have an open mind, you're not gonna I don't need that. No,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Even and you never stop learning.
Yes.
I learn a lot from you.
Yes.
Even, you know, like every day you learn more and you take that in. And knowledge is power. Like and because we're all human in the end of the day, but as long as you have gratitude and have and start slow. I mean, I still get anxiety. I still get bad thoughts, but I try to shut it down as quick as I can. You know, so like good example, yesterday I woke up, I don't want to go for a walk. It was raining. Oh, it's raining. And I had a fight within myself for like 40 minutes, but eventually I went to the gym and I did, you know, a few 5-6 Ks in the treadmill, uphill, jogged a bit, hit training, which I'm able to do now. My hand, I can run now and you know, I can't move my fingers still and it's difficult to grab things. I can't move it up and I can't move my wrist back, but I can still run on the treadmill. I can still walk in the treadmill. I can't obviously pick up a dumbbell, but I'm starting to do it with my left arm now, exercise with my left hand and doing weights with my left. Unfortunately, I can't do it with my right, but 0.5 millimeter a day. And
that's it.
You know, step by step, you do what you can or what you got.
Yep.
And what I got is my left hand, thank God. And take advantage of that. And also, it's another good thing about this is when it does fully recover, I'm never going to take advantage of it again. I'm just going to
take it for granted. No, never.
Look at it every morning. And, hey, you know, I love you. You know, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You always take because in life we always take things for granted.
Yeah.
And breathing and waking up with gratitude is one thing I took for granted.
Yeah.
When I was at my darkest point, I woke up grumpy, angry. I have to do this and all that, and it just ruined my whole day.
Yeah.
But nowadays, every single morning, I wake up and I go, I'm breathing.
Yeah.
And, you know, and
it's a good place to start, isn't it?
Look up in the sky and you go, damn.
Yeah.
I am lucky. I'm blessed, and it's not about having money or having possession because those things can turn around. Like, you know, it doesn't matter how much money I have or have, if I won the lotto, but I still can't able to use my hand. And if I'm not able to control that with my mindset, there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's all about what you got. Use that for your advantage and don't take things for granted. That includes loved ones.
A couple more questions. For anyone who's wanting to join the police or a very junior constable at the moment, what's your advice to them on how to look after yourself and to have every chance of having a long, healthy career?
Yeah. Well, a few things advice I give them. The police don't train you. You only do shoots once a year. DEF TAC, which is physical training once a year. So my great advice is don't wait till something happens. Do something like basic karate or boxing or how to defend yourself. I always used to fold my arms like this and when talking to a crook and if they throw a punch, I'm already here. I'm already blocking, distance. Boxing is all about distance. I'm not saying to compete or anything like that, but keep the basics to protect yourself of unnecessary drama. It's like when you lock the car, you don't leave the car open and the keys in ignition. You give people more chances of the car getting stolen. So you, back in the day, the club lock or the alarm on, and you so the chances are less. So my advice is to do something in your own time. It builds your confidence, whatever weakness you have. If you're a bad communicator, learn that in your own time. You got days off, you got time. We all have the same 24 hours. So use that time to your advantage instead of wasting your time. So be a better talker, communicator. If you're not a good driver, like in the police car, learn to be a better driver. Learn to breathe when it's a high risk situation. Your partner's depending on you, So there's a lot of people that freeze, If you have more confidence when you learn that self-discipline, that martial art and whatnot, that's a great advice. And another one, most important, is advice I wish I knew was that you're not invincible no matter how tough or how tough you think you are, because the mind, and if you hold things in, the bucket fills. And my advice to acknowledge that, to ask for help. If you're in a bad situation, bad jobs, car crashes and bad things, talk to someone straight away. Don't wait till you need to talk to someone, because it's good to see. The thing about my arm, everywhere I go, people ask, "Hey, what happened?
What happened to
you?"
you?
Even happened today when I'm in the putting petrol. The young lady goes, "Oh, what happened to your arm? Oh, you okay?" I tell them about it. "Oh, I hope you feel better," and all that. It feels good. When you have a mind injury, no one asks.
No one can see it.
No one can see it. It's not physically seen. You walk past people and that plays with your head if you're not equipped with the knowledge and that no one cares for me. You walk past, they don't even know. When I went to try to hurt myself, no one cared. No one knew. No one cared. And that's the way I see the world. No one cares for me. When it's physical and they see the stitches, or when I have this, what happened?
Yeah.
And that was the difference.
There's a feeling they care. Yeah.
Feeling that they care, and you can talk about it and it helps. So when the people that join is acknowledge that you're not invincible. Like what my father gave me, that tip is always be who you are. Don't let it change you. Don't let it be bitter. Don't let it change. Don't judge by a book by its cover. Just because one nationality or one does something bad doesn't mean everyone's the same. And when you go to one job and someone's getting you so angry, you might go to a break and enter victim house, but you're taking that anger to that person's house where they got nothing to do with it. They complete innocent. So leave that aside. So learn to deal with that. Don't let your emotions take control of you, because that person might be the nicest person, but you gave them an impression of a police officer, because you go to a lot of jobs, but they don't. They never forget they can remember dealing with the police 2 years ago, and you're like, "Oh, really? I don't remember that," because you go to so many jobs.
Yeah.
But for that person, you don't want to give a sour taste. You don't want to, you don't want to blast them for nothing. You don't want them to have a bad impression by police officers, and because we're not all in the same,
Yeah. Great advice,
Yeah,
mate. Great advice. For anyone who is on their own at the moment, really struggling, potentially at rock bottom, do you have advice to them about how to get out of that, or how to reach out?
Yeah. Seems like everything's so dark, and but it doesn't matter where point you are. There's light in the tunnel. But you won't see it. You can't see it. I didn't see it. but slowly. Doesn't matter. You know, step by step, and there's people that do care and people that do want to help you out. I can leave my email address, my social media addresses, reach out, even if it's just quick conversation.
Yeah.
You know.
Just tell someone you're struggling.
Yeah. Just tell someone there's no shame about it. There shouldn't be any stigma about it. It's not a weakness at all. You know, the toughest soldiers that go overseas and fight in Afghanistan, they come and suffer as well. There's believe in yourself, acknowledge, be full accountable, ownership on yourself, do tough love on yourself as well. And my Jack Sparrow from Pirate of the Caribbean, there's a great saying that one of my favorite mentors is, the problem is not the problem is your attitude about the problem. And that stuck by me, and I go, damn, that's a good one. And that when I was in the road to recovery, that was one of them. Like when something happened, I go, wait a minute, the problem is not the problem. The problem is my attitude about the problem. Keep going. In life, you never stop. Like, for example, I made myself accountable. I'm going to lose this amount of weight now. Be accountable for what I'm going to eat. It's not bad falling. Okay. Les Brown said it the best. If you fall down, make sure you land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And you fall 7 times as long as you get up 8 times. Yep. There's nothing wrong falling. There's nothing wrong hurting. If those people that are on rock bottom, it's not a bad thing failing. There's not a bad thing falling down, getting knocked down by life. What matters is how you get up. You know, everyone's different. We all have our own stories. No one's worse and no one's better. There's nothing like that. It's you versus you in the end of the day. Yep. So you can. Yeah. It's you versus you. Believe in yourself. Have faith. Have hope.
I like it. Good advice,
you know,
man.
There's, even though the world's against you, just step by step, slowly.
Where's life for you now? Where are you working? How are you today?
Yeah. You got to keep on fighting, eh? Like, you know, like I said yesterday morning, I woke up. It's not like I jumped out of bed and go, I'm going to the gym. No problem. Put my shoes on. I woke up, couldn't sleep much because of my nerves in my arm. I think I only had 3-4 hours sleep, but I knew that I needed to go to the gym, and I fought for myself for 40 minutes, but I eventually went. I don't just post everything positive. It's a battle still. It's a fight still. I still have bad dreams. I still, you know, last week I had everything was good during the day, but when I went to sleep, I just had a flashback and had a bad dream, but I dealt with it different.
Yeah.
And
that's the difference.
That's the difference is that tools I have now, even driving, like, went to a shop last week before last, and you don't know what. I saw a little girl with her mum, and I just froze. And he brought me back where a girl that looked exactly like her choked with a grape and died. And yeah, it took me back there, and I'm looking at this girl and I go, oh my God, that, you know, it brought me back. So life can bring you back. It's not ignoring the past because the past happened. It's about dealing with it. So straight away I just grabbed the railing. I was there. I'm okay, you know. It's okay, you know.
It's the awareness of that thought.
Awareness, not ignoring it,
and not ignoring it, and
not masking it. Because if I ignored it and I masked it, I was, oh, that's an excuse. Where's the bottle of? Where's the cheesecake shop? You know.
Yep.
And that, because all those things made things worse. Drinking, eating make things much worse. Yeah. So I grounded myself, and then, you know, went on with my day. Yeah. And that's the same with driving and or seeing something. It brings back those So where I'm at today is just it's like gratitude. Wake up in every single morning, the mindset.
Yeah.
And it's not about hallelujah, everything's great. No.
Yeah.
And I still have to 0.5 millimeter a day. I know that's going to take over 1.5 2 years. So acknowledge that it's there. It is what it is.
Yeah.
What now? You're going to feel sorry for yourself, or you're going to do something about it.
Yeah.
I can't make it grow any faster, but I can actually with eating healthy.
Yep.
The right vitamins, listening to finding knowledge myself, and Dr. Google whatnot, or getting to seek of professionals, or talking to someone about it, like what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Everyone listening, this is helping me. Talking about all these stuff, so it's a constant and enjoying the process. So I'm enjoying the process. I knew coming here, it's not going to be so easy, but I said to myself, no, you're doing it to help others, and I'm sharing the stories might help someone.
Absolutely.
Even if they have to lose someone, go, you know what, I'm going to journal it down and be accountable, full ownership. I'm going to do it too. No excuses. Keep it simple. I'm going to cut out instead of, because if you think, oh, what kind of diet, keto, carnivore, or low carb, it's over information overload. So get help. I'll say something. What do you think is the best thing to do? But in the end of the day, it's to keep it simple. It's like joining a gym. You see all the equipment. God, oh, man, what do I do?
Where do I start?
Technique is everything. Form and keeping it simple and enjoying it as well, and pushing yourself too. It's not about, I went to the gym today, but what did you do when you were in the gym? You were in the phone for 40 minutes, and then you just did one exercise.
Yeah.
End of the day, you got to be full accountable for yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and go, well, I could have done more.
Exactly.
So push yourself what you can. It's you versus you.
Yep.
Like went to the gym yesterday, went on the treadmill. I'm not doing it to join the Tokyo Olympics next year or this year. I'm doing it for myself and I can't do boxing.
Yep.
I acknowledge that.
Got to do it. Got to do something
Face
else.
what it is. It is what it is. It is what it was. So you got to keep going.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah.
Are you still with the police?
Yeah. I'm not doing first response no more.
Yep.
I was helping out with the prosecutors with the court process, and
that's
when
great,
I go back, I'm doing intel work, and that's what I also want to tell other people is, because something happened to you it's not any reason to ruin your whole life. Yeah. For example, just like it's like my arm. It's not a reason for dragging me down, and my life is over. I got one arm still, so adapt and overcome, and that's what I've learned as well. Maybe I can't do first response no more.
I can do other things.
Yeah. I can't use my right hand now, but I can use my left. It's reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, mate, it sounds like that you're on track, and it's a day by day process, which what it should be for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's life should be day by day. With a little eye on the future. Definitely just not giving too much weight to the past, but being in the present as much as we can. And mate, I just thank you so much for sharing your story, and because this is just about bringing awareness of what people go through in emergency services, how it affects them at the time, how it affects them 10 years later, 20 years later. It never leaves us. You're always situationally aware, and the anxiety levels can fluctuate, but they never go. It's about bringing awareness of what people go through, and today's stories from yourself is so much good advice on how to get through with a more positive mindset, and using gratitude and breathing, and that yes, you're going to have bad days, but you always got to be optimistic. You're not always going to be happy and positive every single day, but if you have optimism, you're going to have that future thought that it's shit now, but things will get better.
Yes.
So, mate, I really appreciate your bravery and your courage of sharing your story, and I know definitely it will help others. So I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah.
So definitely let's do another one, because now you've said it.
Yes.
You've got 10 to 15 to go.
Yeah, 10, 15.
And we want a progress update on the hand. And
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be, 10, 15, but not as slow as the
that's right.
half millimetre. So,
exactly.
But yeah,
We'll check in again later on in the year.
Yes, that'd be great.
Dave, been a pleasure. Thank you very much,
Thank
mate.
you, brother.
All right, brother.
Sure.